Will WWE be changing their time slot for Friday Night SmackDown? We're going to talk about that and a potential new TV deal. Yes, we got tons of big WWE news in this video, as always, with timestamps in the description down below. I want to kick things off with some news surrounding LA Knight. Obviously, there's been a lot of people talking about LA Knight, and more specifically because WWE decided to put him in a tag team with Rick Boogs. Now, if you follow me on social media, as I always say, you got to let things play out, and it appears that now there is tons of talk about LA Knight and where this is actually headed. So, over the weekend, it was announced that WWE, Rick Boogs, and LA Knight will team up to face the Street Profits on Friday Night SmackDown. Obviously, a lot of people were vocal about this. A lot of people were disappointed by this. Now, BWE came out, and if you guys don't know BWE, it is an insider account on social media with tons of news. I've been talking a lot about their stories that have definitely come to fruition. They've come true. And now BWE has, in fact, confirmed that this is, in fact, a one-off tag team. As I said before, one-off of LA Knight. Now, this same account is actually the one who said that LA Knight would be expected a push in WWE television. And honestly, this is good news, right? WWE obviously knows that they have plans for LA Knight, and you can tell that they're utilizing him. However, WWE has confused us, right? They've definitely confused us. It seems like he has a lot of momentum, and I think that's where a little bit of my criticism comes in with WWE, because I am willing to let things play out, and I have no issue with him teaming up with Rick Boogs, but at the same time, too, it just feels like LA Knight, while he might be on TV, while he might be having dark matches, while he might be having segments, and they're all good things, it just kind of seemed like WWE's vision is there, but it's something that they're making you wait for. And I feel like there is a different approach for that. I think the best approach is to actually put the guy on television, have him get some meaningful wins, and if he is going to lose a match, utilize it in some capacity that actually makes LA Knight becoming a little bit more believable for when he is expected to get that push. So I knew at the very start of this, guys, there is something going on here. This is not it for LA Knight. But also at the same time, too, I understand why people are frustrated, because it seems like they can't necessarily see the vision. I just want to point out as well, I am always a wait and see type of guy, but also with wrestling, it does become somewhat confusing when you start to realize that, historically speaking, WWE wasn't always good at booking long term. And now, since Triple H has been in power, you are starting to see things take time to develop, and with that, people are kind of confused by that. So I think within time, people will start to see the vision. Keep in mind, LA Knight is one of the few people that are very highly favored to win Money in the Bank, which if LA Knight does win Money in the Bank, don't be surprised if you see him losing matches after, because that typically is what happens with Money in the Bank winners. But if LA Knight does become Money in the Bank, I do think he will successfully cash in on the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Guys, WWE has made a very, very, very big move, and this time it is for India. If you guys are unfamiliar with what is going on here, it has been confirmed that WWE is headed to India on September 12th. Now, for those who may have missed it, earlier this year, WWE was supposed to be in India. It didn't happen. Now, Nick Khan actually delivered an update suggesting that WWE will, in fact, be in India for September. And the good news here is that while we don't have confirmation if this is a premium live event or not, WWE is continuing their international expansion, which I think is always a good thing. I think for WWE, you know, going international markets has definitely been a major contributor to their success and their growth. And I think the Indian market is absolutely huge, right? When you look at India and the WWE numbers over there, they are pretty damn good. And, you know, if WWE wants to bring a show to India, whether it's a live event, a premium live event, a SmackDown taping, a series of events, I just think that is ultimately good news. And I think that is just exactly what WWE needs to do. I like when I see WWE and AEW get outside of the United States. AEW going to Canada and doing very well in Canada is a great thing. AEW announcing Wembley Stadium is a really good thing, and obviously we want to see more of this type of stuff. The reason why we want to see more of this type of stuff is because ultimately WWE being outside of the United States and AEW being outside of the United States actually allows them to grow their presence on a global scale with more with more opportunities from a global expansion. Obviously, that means potentially more money. It means leaving a bigger footprint for the wrestling industry and for the entertainment industry. And WWE being in India is something that I think, honestly, it's about time. If you guys remember, they did the Superstar Spectacle. WWE has almost always valued the Indian audience, and obviously when you're looking at that market, it would make sense for WWE to do so because their numbers are relatively strong. But I want to see WWE actually do a premium live event here. We don't have confirmation if that is the case. We know WWE is planning a stadium show international in September. You have to wonder if this could be the thing that ends up happening. But as of right now, it doesn't appear to actually be 100% set in stone. We'll see what happens, obviously, but international expansion is always a good thing. And now it leads us to more stuff from Nick Khan. Guys, Nick Khan speaking very, very highly of a lot of things that WWE is currently doing. Now, the Moffitt-Nathanson conference talk panel thing, basically Nick Khan was there. He was speaking openly about WWE, and while taking part in this, he mentioned a lot of good gems, and more specifically, he spoke about WWE potentially changing the night for SmackDown. Now, at the same time, too, he says, obviously because we're talking about TV deals here, if WWE isn't retained by Fox, essentially what can happen is WWE can move SmackDown to a different night if it goes somewhere else for its TV deal. Now, I do believe in some capacity Fox may not retain SmackDown. And the reason for this is because companies like Netflix and Amazon and so many other companies do, they do a lot where it makes sense for WWE to be part of them. And then also you got to think, for a while it was kind of rumored that Netflix and Amazon wanted more live sports. And now we saw Amazon has so much going on with One Championship FC, right? One FC, One Fighting Championship. And then, of course, they do have Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. Now, what's really interesting is at the same time where Nick Khan actually confirms that SmackDown could potentially move nights, he was also confirming, I wouldn't say confirming, but he was speaking very highly of Amazon. And look, I've been saying it for a while. Amazon and wrestling just makes a lot of sense. Last year, I signed a deal with Amazon to be exclusive to Twitch to bring the Angle Show to their platform. And I just felt like at that time, that was a very, very small sign that potentially maybe Amazon has interest in the wrestling industry. And I remember talking about it at the time. I would say, look, if Amazon, Netflix, Apple, if some of these big streaming companies want WWE part of their platform and they're willing to shell out the money, that's a really good incentive to push subscriptions to their streaming service. And I don't know what Amazon would do in the sense of live television, but if you could watch SmackDown, let's say on Thursday nights, I think that would be great. Amazon Prime, there's a lot of reasons to have it. And I'm not just saying this I'm not paid to say this, but Amazon Prime, you can get same day delivery or free 2-day delivery depending on where you live. Also, with Amazon Prime, there's just so many different perks and different services and things that you can get from it. So it wouldn't shock me necessarily if WWE did move SmackDown to Amazon. It wouldn't shock me if WWE moved, any of their shows to Netflix. But I do want to make something very clear because I think there's a lot of people who are talking about cutting the cord and all these different things. If you're going to cut the cord, that is completely fine. But the prices of these streaming services, I don't really feel like there's enough room for them to keep increasing their prices because ultimately it wouldn't make sense to have a streaming service and all of these streaming services when you could just have it on cable. And I hope WWE is a little bit mindful of that if they were to choose going to a different TV provider that is a streaming company. I do also want to say Peacock deal with WWE is absolutely massive, and it's been a great deal for them, and there's still years on top of that deal. But if WWE moves SmackDown to a streaming platform, my guess is at some point, not now, but years from now, collectively, WWE would move all of their shows to that platform, plus their tape library. We'll see what happens. Keep in mind, Nick Khan has openly praised Amazon for a while. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but WWE going into Amazon Thursday Night SmackDown would probably be the most ideal situation for me. The reason why I say this, Monday night is Raw, Tuesday is NXT, Wednesday is Dynamite. Yes, Thursday there is Impact and ROH, but those are very small shows. Those are not live shows. Those are not live events. So therefore, SmackDown being on Thursdays really works well for me. And the reason why is because Friday and Saturday nights I think is a good idea, for us at least as fans, in the key demographic that probably want to go out and enjoy life a little bit. You're not surrounded by wrestling 24/7. And I think you got to have a little bit of balance. And I think there's so much wrestling on TV. I don't want to see SmackDown head-to-head with NXT. I don't want to see SmackDown head-to-head with Raw, SmackDown head-to-head with Dynamite. I don't want to see them combating another wrestling show, even if it's within their own company, which obviously it wouldn't make sense for WWE to do that. But I'm just making out the point. There's not a lot of days left for them to do so, and I just think SmackDown being on Fridays absolutely sucks. So I'd rather see it on Thursdays. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys think SmackDown will switch nights? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.